Okay, so 2 students didn't scan attendance yet. Please do so right now. Okay, so let me check. We'll not open the camera yet. Okay, kindly open your camera before we begin the class. Okay, Alin Shida, Amirul, Dila, Naziha, Siti Zulaika. Okay, so kindly open your camera before we start the class.
I've opened my computer. I used two devices.
Oh, you used two device. Okay, so Amirul Idham, Naziha, Siti Zulaika, kindly open your camera.
Saya guna dua device juga.
Okay, dua device juga. So how about Idham, Amirul and Zulaika? Okay, Zulaika already open camera, but I can't see you, Zulaika. Yeah, I can't see you, Zulaika. Okay, Amirul Idham. Before we start the Okay, so this is the topic that we are going to cover today. So today we cover on chapter 3, which is critical thinking in cross-cultural psychology. Okay, so this slide also I already upload in e-learning. You can check. And okay, regarding to critical thinking in cross-cultural psychology. So what do you understand by critical thinking? Kita warming up dah dulu sebelum we proceed with lecture. Warming up dulu. What do you understand by critical thinking? Aida Farhana.
Yes, doctor. I think critical thinking is when someone when someone look at something and they analyze the reason behind everything
Mhm.
and use their mind lah rather than just look at it for what it is.
Okay, all right. So, thank you, Aida Farhana. It's almost correct, eh? Hampir tepat, sikit je lagi tu. Okay, but the point is there. So, how about Muaz? What do you understand by critical thinking?
Um, my solid definition of critical thinking is actually based on how someone or anybody that possess this kind of ability to create a split second decision actually.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Muaz. So basically, critical thinking is applied to everyone, and of course, we need it when we need to do the analysis, problem statement, and everything. Even when you're talking, you're using language. So also it relate to the critical thinking. Okay, when you need to come up with certain statement, justification, you need to use the critical thinking. So how this critical thinking can be applicable and can be differences when we try to relate in the cross-cultural psychology. So you can see somehow there are certain country they are really critical on certain thing. Okay, and you can see for example, among Malaysia, among Asian and Western country, if you have communication with them, if you talk or discuss related to education, maybe they are not really emphasizing so much. Okay, however, somehow in Western country there are certain apa point or view of point yang they will see it's very critical to be discussed. And sometimes it use a lot of emotion and also a lot of justification, something like that. So that is what we call as a critical thinking, and how it can be differentiate and how it can be related in the cross-cultural psychology. Yeah, so that's the reason when we talking about critical thinking, it also relate with the language. Okay, because when you come out when you need to speak in other language or in our language also, somehow you need to use your critical thinking, which is you need to use the ability of thinking to produce the sentence. Okay, so this is relate with the critical thinking. Okay, and the reason somehow we need to sometimes we need to be careful when we do describe, which is it can be to prescribe. Okay, so this now we see what are the differences between the objective description and subjective evaluation. Is it a clear one? And then we can say that between objective description and subjective evaluation is a bit they have the apa the distinction is there is no distinction, because word can be both as a describe and also evaluate. We use words, okay, to make describing and to make evaluation. Okay, of course, when you want to speak to someone, your statement or justification is relate with the either describe or evaluate. Also, you need to use words. Okay, so that's the reason there is no distinction or differences between objective description and subjective evaluation. However, we have a tendency to make a description based on if it reflect based on our value. For example, if you doesn't like something, okay, you have a tendency to use the word you are not interested to it. Okay, you have a tendency to use the words based on your if based on your own personal like or dislike. Okay, so it will represent your own value. For example, if you love someone, so you have a tendency to say that, oh, I love that person, oh, I like that person, chuai, for example, so you will use that words. Okay, that word actually represent either you describe and also either you evaluate that person. Okay, so that the reason somehow we use this word, okay, in apa it we use word which is it relate to the critical thinking. And usually we use our particular term serve not only to describe but also to prescribe what desirable and undesirable to us. Okay, so usually we use the words, okay, to explain what we like, what we doesn't like, to mention what we try to evaluate. Okay, so basically this is a thing relate to the critical thinking. The first one is language. Okay. And how we can see it can be differences in cross-cultural psychology. Okay, how it relate in cross-cultural psychology. So when you're talking, somehow you use the words, maybe it can be misinterpreted to the other people, different country from us. Okay, for example, the word cold. That person look cold. So kalau lah, if you understand, if you interpret that, if we relate with the last week class, we have tendency to say that, oh, that person is really cold. So somehow it can give the other meanings. Same with that person is very hot. What do you understand if we say that person is very hot? What do you understand? Is someone talking to you? Oh, that person is really hot. What do you understand?
They
What
are
is your
extremely
interpretation?
gorgeous. Extremely gorgeous. Or
Izian.
handsome. Dengar tak, Doktor? No?
Gorgeous, handsome, attractive, kan? Beautiful, head stroke. And then this is the thing, but somehow in the other in others country, maybe it will interpret on on the other meaning. For example, hot-tempered. Okay. What else? Angry, aggressive. That person is very hot. So can be hot-tempered. So this is a thing that somehow we need to use. We need before we come up with the certain words. So we need to use our critical thinking first. So same with when we try to describing or try to understand what the other people mention or talking, we also need to use the critical thinking to make the interpretation. Okay, so that we can understand, oh, actually this person meaning on what. Okay, kalau you pergi certain country yang dekat western, kalau you gunakan, oh, that person is very hot, so you boleh interpret lah, oh, maksudnya dia ni adalah orang yang popular, hebat, gorgeous and so on. But however, in certain country, they doesn't understand it. Okay, dia akan interpret the other meaning. Mungkin dia akan kata, oh, bila you gunakan perkataan ni, mesti ada certain country dia akan kata, are you talking to me? Are you said that I'm very hot? I'm not hot. So this is the thing, relate with the critical thinking. You need to use your own mind, critical, before you come up with when you come up with the justification, interpretation, and so on. All right, if you can see here, the material substance, both term refer literally to temperature. That liquid is very cold. That liquid is very hot. So we know this is the meaning in when we refer to the temperature. Okay, so somehow in individual it can be different, and we also use maybe we use also the different connotation. So that the reason we need do the evaluation regarding to the connotation also. Tengok balik dia punya statement, dia punya tone dia macam mana. Okay, before you jump to conclusion, then try to understand it first. Sebenarnya apa dia nak cakap sebenarnya. Okay, and somehow it can be relate and different based on the value system. Okay, so you can see here based on the same phenomena as I described from the two different perspectives. Okay, if you're talking to different people, okay, let's say Jenny and Lee is your friend, so you can see if somehow dia punya interpretation to, or the words that they use somehow represent based on their punya value system. Okay, for example, you can see here the word like naive. So for Lee, that words, okay, actually represent the idealistic. Okay, for example, the words old. Okay, so for Lee, value old means matured. So somehow kalau you gunakan perkataan old in Malaysia, Kadang-kadang tu ada makcik-makcik tu dia akan cepat melenting. I'm not too old. So can you imagine, maksudnya somehow the words tu dia boleh bagi different meaning lah. Okay, so ada setengah mungkin mereka akan appreciate if you said the words, oh you look so old. So ada setengah people ni they are really care about that. Okay, so instead of you using the words old, so it's better you use you look matured. So nampak macam you know, tak nampaklah ketuaan sangat tu, nampak lebih kematangan sikit. So somehow this is the words that we are using, and the interpretation somehow can be different, also can be relate also with our value system. Alright, and this is some antidotes. Okay, antidotes here like for example, we have the first one. Remember the description, especially concerned on the personality characteristic, can never be entirely objective, impartial, or natural. Okay, so when you talking on something, make sure do not touch so much on the personality characteristic. Okay, when you want to describe something, okay, be careful. Remember, do not concerning so much on the personality itself. Okay, if you describe on characteristic, that it can be acceptable. But if you talking on the someone personality, somehow it can be a different meaning, different interpretation. Okay, and then beware of your own personal value. Okay, because somehow it can be biased. Okay, and how this influence the language that you use. Kadang-kadang kita ada tendensi untuk contoh, you punya value, you punya moral value ni adalah kindness. Okay, so the words that you use also will represent your kindness tu tadi, the value yang you pegang tu tadi. For example, bila you bercakap dengan orang, okay, you tahu you tak setuju dengan statement tersebut, because you ada pegangan kindness tu tadi, value kindness tu tadi, so the words you use also, you akan be careful, because you tahu if you use the bad word, satu, dia tak represent you punya value, and other things, because you think the words that you use might hurt the other people. Okay, so that the reason somehow it relate with our value. Be careful, beware also with your value, because sometimes it can represent based on the language that you use. Okay, and avoid presenting your value judgment as objective reflection of the truth, and recognize how other people use of language reveal their own value and biases. So that the reason when you talking to the other people, especially different country with you, okay, so you also can use this method and this way to understand what actually they want to say and how it represent to the value. Okay, their value. Okay, so basically this is actually relate to the critical thinking. Okay, all right, now finish for critical thinking. Now we move to the other variable. Okay, we have dichotomous and continuous variable. Okay, so for dichotomous and continuous variable, we can see that there are some phenomena may be divided into two mutual exclusive or contradict category. Okay, so you can see that for dichotomous, you can see something is very clearly different. You know, for example, the light switch either on or off. Dia tak ada titik tengah. Okay, dia tak ada in between nak pergi on ke off tu. There is no option. Either you on or either you off. That's it. Okay, for example, either you female or either you female, you're male. Ada yang tengah-tengah Ada stood dekat situ. Tak ada S dekat situ. So this is the thing that is a very there is no distinction. Okay, it's very clear. Okay, tak ada divided dekat situ. Okay, tak ada contrary category. So it's very clear kat mana you dilahirkan. For example, you dilahirkan dekat Sabah, tak ada tiba-tiba dalam surat beranak you dilahirkan dekat Melaka. Okay, so maksudnya there is no option. Either you like or not, that's the option that you have lah. Only two mature categories only. However, contrastly, it different with the continuous variable, which is for continuous variable, okay, it consists of theoretical infinite number of point lying between two polar opposite. Okay, for example, extremely black and extremely white. So dekat tengah-tengah tu, dia ada middle dekat situ, which is grey. Okay, kalau hitam pekat campur dengan putih off white, warna apa yang jadi? Mungkin kelabu asam ataupun kelabu tai itik, I don't know. Okay, so actually it have the the middle over there. Okay, ada middle, ada others option lah dekat situ. Okay, so this is the examples. Jom kita buat exercise sikit. Alright, for the first one, feminine and masculine. Is it continuous or dichotomous?
Dichotomous.
Dichotomous. Why dichotomous?
Because there is no in between.
Okay, either you like or not, it's only have feminine and masculine. Okay, how about married to singles? Is it dichotomous or continuous?
Continuous,
Why?
because you can be divorced.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that is based on your value. You're giving opinion based on your value. So akan ada statement, it can be continuous because of dekat tengah tu it can be divorce. Okay, however, okay, kalau you tengok ada certain country, dia maybe akan say this is the dichotomous, which is either you married, either you single. Okay, there is no option or no room for divorcee. Okay, so it can be dichotomous also. Okay, so this is the thing, it relate with the value just now. Okay, how about liberal and conservative? What do you think? Kalau tak adalah pengundi lalang ya. Tengah-tengah. Dekat tengah-tengah tu. Okay. So what do you understand for liberal and conservative? Is it dichotomous and continuous or continuous?
Continuous,
Okay, why continuous?
because they might be neutral.
Neutral, exactly. It might be neutral. Sebab tu kalau saya sebut tadi, kalau dalam politika akan ada orang undi tut, ada orang akan undi tut, ada orang yang macam neutral dekat tengah. Kan tak kisah. Okay, so that is continuous. Okay, so how about death alive? How about death alive?
Continuous.
Okay, kita ada two option here. Some people said continuous, some people said dichotomous. Why?
Doktor, kalau continuous, so saya rasa continuous sebab kan ada orang yang pengsan tu kira maksudnya dia kalau macam orang tu koma ke apa, so dia dekat tengah-tengah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this is the thing actually relate with the critical thinking. But some of you mentioned that it's dichotomous. Either you death or alive. Ada setengah, this is the thing yang dia relate dengan the value just now. Okay. Contohlah, you kata orang yang hidup, orang yang meninggal takkan hidup lagi di dunia ni contohnya. So itu dia akan berpegang kepada konsep dichotomous. Okay. Tapi sekiranya you punya value, you kata, oh tapi kan ada comma in between. So it can be continuous. Okay. But let's say we said death alive maksudnya meninggal. Tapi akan ada value yang like in the Muslim country, Dia percaya akan ada hari kebangkitan, which is from the death, and it's coming from it's good to alive. Balik the statement tu. Okay, ini yang kita kata we relate with the critical thinking. Okay, so how about power on and power off? Dichotomous. Okay, some of you said dichotomous. How about sleep? Kalau macam power on, power off, laptop kan ada yang sleep tu, so how? Kerja banyak nak kena buat PSM, tak nak tutup, tak nak power off lagi, I nak buat I nak buat sleep je. Nanti boleh senang buka tu terus nampak kerja nak buat apa. Then how? Okay, so this is the thing based on the context. So that the reason I mentioned just now, somehow you kena tengok lah based on the when somehow bila you nak bercakap, when you have a communication with the other people, sometimes you kena understand, you kena tengok dia punya value tu macam mana. Okay, sebab if the value is different and both of you cannot understand, so dia akan lead kepada misinterpretation lah. Okay, like you mentioned, like your friend mentioned just now, somehow it can be relate with the context. Look at the context. Okay, sama lah macam death and alive tadi. Look at the context, look at the person value. Okay, kalau lah that person tu dia adalah orang yang very religious, so they believe there is it is dichotomous. Why? Because there is once you die, then you never alive again. But there are certain religious people that believe on life on hereafter, so it can be continuous. Okay, so it depends on the value also. Okay, hopefully you understand based on dichotomous and continuous. Faham Nampak tak dia punya perbezaan between dichotomous and continuous? Okay, very good. Okay, so this is the thing we need to, as antidote, okay, we need to learn differentiate between the variable that are dichotomous and those are continuous. Okay, and also remember the most person relate to the phenomena such as trait, attitude, dia punya belief dia which is can be lie along the continuum. Okay, so macam saya sebutkan tadi lah, okay, akan ada statement yang mungkin the way they think tu is different from us. Okay, tapi tak bolehlah kita macam nak blaming the way they think tu. Okay, itu somehow cara dia dibesarkan and so on, the value can make the way they think tu is different lah daripada kita. So this is the thing yang kita menggunakan our critical thinking lah when we want to do the evaluation, description on things and so on. So when making cross-cultural comparison, okay, try to avoid artificial or false dichotomies. Okay, so be careful. So you can relate here that the reason kalau dalam cross-cultural psychology kita bukanlah katakanlah statement kita kata oh Western ni adalah orang yang very individualistic, but somehow you need to look back. Ada dalam individualistic tu ada je people dalam Western country tu yang not really individual. They still care about the other people. So ini yang kita katakan somehow be careful with the false dichotomies. Okay, and collectivism and traditionals are continuum. So be careful. Kalau you tengok if we relate with the Palestine and Gaza, if we look back, walaupun in Western country there are certain country like like UK and so on, America tu ada story lah. Okay, like the UK, apa lagi? If I'm not mistaken, the Ireland. Okay, they are represent the Western country also, but they are still support for the ceasefire kan? Dia tak nak that kind of war happen again. So walaupun kita kata oh Western country ni they are really individualistic, not care about the other people. Okay, but somehow they go beyond that. So ini yang saya cakap tadi, somehow be careful with the dichotomies. Sometimes it can be continuous. Kita need to look into the multiple factors and variables lah. Okay. And be careful. And this is the thing that relate with the critical thinking. Okay. And same with the similarity and uniqueness paradox. Okay, some exercise for you. Which of the following four words does not belong with the other three? Canadian, Italian, Cuban, or D, Hindu? Which one?
Hindu.
Hindu, okay, why? Yan
Hindu
confident
is-
sangat Hindu, why?
Hindu is religion.
Because of religion. So how about the rest? Did
The
you
rest
all
is-
agree? Apa tu tak faham lah, thumbs up tu apa maksud dia?
Agree, Doctor.
Agree. Okay, agree. Okay, so look like everyone is agree with the Yan statement. However, yes, exactly. Actually, it represents the religion. However, the correct answer can be B also. Why? So this is the thing yang relate with the critical thinking, you know. Before you, sama juga kalau macam dalam final exam kan, you need to use your critical thinking. Okay, actually your answer is correct, okay, because it represents the religion, not nationality, okay. But somehow B also can be correct. Why? Because none of the others are European. So this is the thing, it's relate based on what your value, based on your knowledge also. Okay, when we do the critical thinking, and then again, C also can be correct. Why? Because this is only the group with the communist government, isn't it? Dia tanya balik kita, isn't it? And then not quite. The correct answer is A, because Canadian is the only word on the list that contain an even number of letters. Okay. So this is the thing bila you come up with the certain statement, or you want to come up with the answer, somehow you need to look into the similarity and uniqueness. The similarity here, you can see the uniqueness here, you can see that Hindu is unique lah, okay, because it represents the religion. Okay, and however, they also have the similarity here. Okay, like the apa tadi, A, B, and D. Okay, which is none of them is European. Okay, so it represents the uniqueness. And also it can be represented similarity, which is A, C, and D share the similarity, which is they are not represent European. Okay, and it also can be C. Why? Because it uniqueness, because it represent to the government. Okay, and also A also can be as a uniqueness because of the only words is contain the numbers of letter. Okay, so this is the thing when you come up to the critical thinking, somehow you need to think on the similarity and also their uniqueness. Okay, kalau contohlah, kalau you suka dekat seseorang tu, okay, you akan cari jalan untuk cakap, walaupun kawan you kata dia tak sesuai dengan you, you sedaya upaya akan menggunakan you punya justification, okay, untuk mencari titik persamaan dan uniqueness ni, supaya kawan you tu sedar bahawasanya orang ini adalah orang yang layak untuk you. You faham tak what I mean? Okay, so this is the thing yang you will use your critical thinking. Walaupun kawan you kata, tak, dia makan comot, you akan kata, tak, dia makan elok. So this is the thing yang you use the critical thinking untuk justify to your friend. Okay? Faham tak? So you can change him sampai hatian. Okay? So this is the thing. When you talking or do something, sometimes you need to look back on the similarity and uniqueness paradox. Okay, and this is actually relate with the critical thinking. Okay, so back again to the antidote before we come out with the statement. So try to think back. Okay, make a comparison, compare and contrast, and ask yourself what the way they are similar, what the way they are different. Okay, sama juga kalau dalam exam kan ada soalan objektif tu, dalam test tu objektif. Cuba fikir balik, kenapa dia sama, kenapa dia tak sama, kenapa bukan jawapan ni, kenapa jawapan yang ni. Sesama juga, kenapa saya suka dia, kenapa saya tak suka dia. Buat list down. Okay, buat study sikit. That is critical thinking. Ni tak, orang dah cakap I love you je terus macam jatuh hati. Don't ever do that. Okay? Jangan cepat terpengaruh. Buat critical thinking sikit. Ni sekali cakap I love you je macam dah lembut hati. No. Okay? Alright, so before beginning your evaluation, okay, ask yourself what the purpose on this analysis. What are the purpose you have discussion with this person? Okay, asking this question will help you to choose the most appropriate and relevant dimension and sorting the variables. So that's why when you have a communication with the different country with us, okay, try to understand the purpose of your communication, the purpose of the discussion. Okay, so that the statement, the answer that you given to is aligned and the other people also can understand it. Okay, and careful in selecting the dimension on which you will evaluate the various phenomena. Try to recognize the dimension you select will ultimately determine the degree of similarity or uniqueness, which is displayed between two phenomena. So when you come up with the justification, somehow it can be different with the with other people. So can it represent the uniqueness? So you need to ask yourself also. Okay, be careful with that lah. Somehow you kena tengok juga maybe ada certain country they are not really emphasized on the uniqueness. They sama kalau dalam group lah. Kalau in group, if you showing the uniqueness in the group, which is a different point of view, so maybe they are not appreciate you because you are not similar with them. So somehow that's the reason when you have a communication with them, you need to look back regarding to the uniqueness and also similarity. Okay, and despite what may appear to be an overwhelming numbers of similarity between two events, always search for and take into account their differences, and conversely, regardless of what may seem to be total absence of commonality between two events, search and take into it their similarity. So this one that I mentioned just now, even though we have the differences, somehow try to look on the similarity. Okay, contoh kita dengan Singapore mungkin akan ada perbezaan, but we are not focused on the perbezaan. Try to emphasize on the similarity so that both of the country can be happy. Sama lah juga in relationship. Ni tak, sikit-sikit tengok berbeza macam langit dengan bumi. Cuba cari titik tengah, then barulah you boleh bahagia. So same with in cross-cultural psychology. Okay, and do not allow yourself to be swayed by individual who maintain or you can compare this event because they have absolutely nothing in common. So this is a thing yang somehow you akan bila you ada communication with the other people, different country, different background with you, somehow you akan jumpalah dengan this kind of statement which is can be different and or it can be similar lah. Okay, so be careful. Okay, look back on your value also, and look back also, try to study on the other people value also. Okay, all right, and now we move to Barnum effect. Okay, so the Barnum statement is personality description about a particular individual or group that is true of practical all human being. Okay, so in other words, it general statement that has a little something for everybody. Okay, so this Barnum effect actually refer to the people willingness to accept the validity of such overly inclusive and generic appraisal, and the Barnum effect also refer to the one size fit all. For example, if the people outside from Malaysia or Indonesia said that Asian country like Indonesia and Malaysia, the people are really warm. Do you accept it? Do you accept it? Okay, so it can fit to everybody in Malaysia or Indonesia. So that is we call as a Barnum effect. Okay, so it represent it. If you accept the validity, okay, so if you accept the validity, somehow it represent to the Barnum effect. Okay, your willingness to accept the validity. Contohlah, kita kata lagi, Malaysia and Indonesia, orangnya kind. Okay, compare or kind compare, bukanlah compare, tak payah nak compare. Akan ada certain value yang orang akan lihat. Oh, Asian countries like this, Western country like this. Okay, so if the person in that group accept it, okay, then this is we call as a Barnum effect. Okay, it can be a good stereotype and somehow it can be a bad stereotype juga. Okay, so depends on the context. Okay, for example, men care about success. Okay, men care about success. What do you think? Muaz, siapa lagi dalam kelas ni? Azim, Amirul, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Mana lagi jejaka di dalam kelas ni? Hilang dah. Dah sampai bazar dah.
Still agree, Doctor.
Agree. Like I mentioned, they agree. So this is the Barnum effect. Okay? Alright. Tapi, katakanlah ada lelaki yang macam group of majority of men not accept it. Okay, disagree with it. So this is not the Barnum effect. Okay, so Barnum effect, the validity itself is acceptable to the people. Okay, the people accept. Okay, to the accept to this statement lah. Okay, and women seek love. What do you think? Agree. Okay, not only love from partner, love from parents lah, siblings lah. Kau tak bercakap dengan adik-beradik tu, dan tambah pula kalau nak sulung, kenapa adik kita ni macam tak hormat kita, sedih. So this is the thing that relate with the woman seek love. Okay, and infant seek pleasure. Is it Barnum effect? Okay. All right. So, okay, now we look. Okay, the Italian enjoy food. How about this one? Italian enjoy food. Google sekarang. Did Italian only enjoy food? I think Malaysia also enjoy the food. I also enjoy the food. Okay, I think all people enjoy the food. And try Google sekarang. What do you get? Get the answer yet? Not yet.
I mean, like you said, Doctor, everyone enjoys food actually.
Yes.
It says Italians emphasize
Kan?
on food a lot. Maybe I agree with it because Italians does love their food.
Refugee is refugee lah. So how about immigrant? Immigrant seek a better life. Agree or disagree? This is Barnum effect or not? Apa tu Dila? Tak faham.
Agree, Doctor.
Agree. Why?
Sebab ramai yang pindah negara untuk
Okay.
kerja yang lagi elok.
Okay. And somehow to get a good salary also. Okay, walaupun kerja tu mungkin biasa dekat the other country, tapi because of the salary given is higher, kalau kita convert in our currency tu, okay, dia akan lagi tingkatkanlah dia punya kehidupan tu. Okay, you got what I mean? Ada just certain people tu bila dia migrate tu kerja biasa, tapi because of the salary itself tu yang offer tu mungkin biasa, tapi bila dia convert into their own country dia akan jadi banyak. Okay, so yes, this is we call as a Barnum effect. Psychologists have their own problem. Yes, exactly. Okay, we also have our own problem. However, we go back to our friends. Okay, because our friends learn psychology also. Okay, like me lah. I also have problem. But in the end of the day, I will go back to my friend, which is classmate lah. Classmate I yang 15 tahun lepas tu. Okay, and still together. So in the end of the day, kita akan patah balik. Yelah, manusia memang macam tu kan. Itulah sebab kita belajar psikologi. So kita faham manusia macam mana. So in the end, that's the end of our conversation. So maksudnya kita kalau orang yang tak faham psikologi, you mungkin akan bias. Okay, but because we both understand about psychology, so in the end our statement tu dia akan jadi macam tak apalah, kita banyakkan bersabar. Macam itulah kehidupan manusia. Kita kan belajar psikologi, kena memahami manusia. So, in the end, that's the sentence untuk conclusion. Tak nampaklah terlalu negatif dekat situ kan. So, yes, this can be as a Barnum effect. Okay? Alright. Cubalah kalau you communicate dengan friends you lepas ni bila you kerja kan, the group therapy. Cubalah bila you kerja nanti, bila LI nanti kan, mungkin akan stress. So masing-masing dia akan macam marah. Lepas tu nanti dia marah. Lepas tu nanti tak apalah, kita kena banyak bersabar. Kita baca psikologi, study about people, human and behaviour kan. Kena banyakkan bersabar, faham tingkah laku, kenapa orang tu buat macam tu kat kita. So this is the thing actually, you actually reflect to yourself also. Macam tu. Okay, so and this is the antidote here. Learn to differentiate the Barnum statement. Macam tadi based on the statement, ada statement yang bukan Barnum effect. Okay. So learn to differentiate the Barnum statement from person and a group, which is a specific description and interpretation. Because kalau you tengok dekat sini, maybe some of the statement it represent individual. Some of the statement they represent into the group. Okay, kalau you tengok for migrant, okay, it can represent as individual and as a group. Okay, so sama juga dengan men. Tapi ada je men yang not focus on success. And ada juga women that not seek for love. So somehow this one, it can represent individu. Okay, ada women yang seek for career. Okay, so it depends. Okay, depends. So this is the thing, we need to differentiate the statement to from person or by group before we come up with the interpretation. And beware of the limited utility inherent in Barnum statement, especially remember, although the Barnum statement has validity about the people in general, however, they fail to reveal anything distinct about any given individual or social group. So somehow, yes, it can be validate, it can be acceptable to the group, but somehow we as the one yang try to understand ni, kadang-kadang tu kita kena use our critical thinking before we come up with the statement or the Barnum effect tu. Use our critical thinking first. Okay, especially bila you nak justify, because especially contohnya tiba-tiba you bercakap dengan orang yang different country with you, yang you tak faham pun their culture itself tu. So somehow dia boleh misinterpret. Okay, so be careful dekat situ. And whenever features are inappropriate, make it a point to reduce the Barnum effect by clarifying personality description and interpret in terms of their magnitude or degree. Okay, so somehow try to reduce use the Barnum effect when you do the personality description. Okay, like I mentioned just now, somehow it can represent based on the individu. Okay, mungkin tak sama. Personality tu, walaupun kita kata akan ada sama, tapi mungkin akan ada yang tak sama. Okay, so be careful and somehow it can be biased. Contoh, you plan nak pergi Italy ni. Dah study nak pergi Italy. So bila you pergi sana tu, you cakap dengan kawan-kawan you pula tak ada experience kan, first time kan. First time pergi nak pergi travel dekat Italy ni kan. You orang yang dah study. So you pun bagilah statement dekat dia. Dia kata, you tahu tak orang Italy ni orang Italy ni dia suka makan tau, especially on they enjoy food really much tau. Lepas tu kawan you ni pula yang tak ada pengalaman ni, yang tak menggunakan critical thinking ni, accept lah, terima seadanya. So dia pun tengok, dia pergi sekeliling tu tengok tak adalah enjoy food sangat. Yang nampaknya enjoy kosong lah, macam tu lah, tak ada pula nasi dan sebagainya. So somehow it can be a different point of view. So be careful sebab kita tak nak it lead to the bias and so on. Okay. Okay, and then now we move to the next part. Okay, the assimilation bias. Okay, so the assimilation bias is a category, is a fundamental and pervasive of all human psychological activity propensity to category. So people appear to possess an innate drive to classify, organize, systemize, group, subgroup, and otherwise structured the world around them. So everyone here, somehow we apply the assimilation. And usually this assimilation can be conceptual by our mental represent, which is our schema. Okay, and this schema actually is a cognitive structure based on our knowledge, based on our belief and our past experience. And finally, it becomes as a framework that structured your mind, what will be in the future or create to the new event. Okay, so based on the past experience and so on, your schema just now tu, dia akan leads kepada you punya future to understand the new event or the future experience. So this is we call as the part that we have in the assimilation bias. Okay. All right, and when we talking about this, okay, assimilation bias, somehow we need to understand this creeping, okay, from our preconception. Okay, kadang-kadang tu kita punya persepsi ni it can lead to the assimilate. Contohnya katakanlah you ada your point of view. You have a tendency to not modify your statement because of your schema, because of your past experience, okay? But somehow in the certain situation, somehow we need to accommodate with other people's punya opinion juga to be fit in our schema. Okay, so this is the thing based on the Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget. They identify two complementary processes that we utilize in such situation, okay, which is we call as accommodation and assimilation. And according to Piaget, these both response are integral component of cognitive development and constitute the meaning by which we are adapt to our environment and construct our reality. So basically, accommodation refer to the process we modify our schema to fit to the data. Okay, so in other words, we change our pre-existing belief to make a room for new information. However, for assimilation, you modify the data to fit in our schema. Okay, and we incorporate new information into our pre-existing belief. So it means distorting the information itself. So okay, so paling mudah lah saya cakap kat sini. In one situation, contoh dalam satu situasi you pergi, contohlah you berjumpa dengan the new people ke, ataupun you go for the other country ke, okay, somehow you tengok the country tu is different from you. So kadang-kadang tu you kena accommodate with their system, with their legal, with their law. okay, to be fit to you. Okay, you kena modify a bit your schema tu, you punya belief tu, okay, to be fit in that situation. Contohlah, you tahu dekat Jepun tu dia punya sistem toilet dia a bit different. At least kita dekat Malaysia ni, contohlah at least kita dekat Malaysia ni walaupun tak ada tak ada bidet, okay, tapi kita ada toilet yang yang it can be directly go, can boleh cuci lah and so on. But there are certain toilet in Japan, there is no water at all. Okay, so maksudnya kita dalam situasi tu, takkanlah kita nak suruh orang Jepun tu buat toilet tu ikut kita, betul tak? So in this situation you have to accommodate. Okay, you menggunakan you punya past experience and so on. Okay, you buat study sikit, find a new information. Okay, when you go to Japan, okay, this is the thing that you need to bring. Bawa water spray. Okay, so you accommodate dengan situation. Okay, so that is accommodate. You modify your schema to be fit in the data. You modify your belief to be fit in the situation. Okay, and assimilation, you modify the data, okay, to be fit in our schema. For example, you go in the Western country. Contohlah lepas ni nak buat master. Sorry, I mix my language in bahasa. You further study overseas, contohnya buat master lah kan kat sana. So you tahu kalau dalam situasi tersebut, dalam situasi pembelajaran akan ada group discussion and so on, task group task and so on. And somehow bila buat group task ni, you akan duduk bersama orang yang different country with you, with different religion with you. And katakanlah dalam situasi tersebut, kawan you kata, jomlah kita pergi club. You tahu dalam in that situation, pergi restoran sekalipun, of course for religion, for Muslim, there is no room for like the halal and so on. Okay, dia ajak you pergi buat kerja dekat club contohnya lah. Maksudnya coffee house, it's not coffee house lah. So in that situation, kalau you tak pergi, macam mana nak siapkan assignment? Okay, so what would you do? What will you do in that situation? Suggest another place. Okay, so suggest another place mean that you try to make sure that person to be fit in your schema. Number one. Or else, you go, okay, but you have your own value. Okay, you have religion in you. So you janganlah pergi drink ke apa. You bring your own water. Okay, so that is assimilate. Okay, that is assimilate. You try to fit the data in your belief. You try to fit in new environment. Okay, you try to modify the environment. Okay, to be fit in your belief. Okay, you try to modify. You tahu you tak boleh minum dekat sana. It may be not halal and so on. So you bring your own water. Okay, so that is assimilate. Okay, you got what I mean? Faham tak? Okay, so you terus cut off. So somehow the assimilation ni dia ada tendency untuk you untuk you sisihkan lah the things tu, which is in the end of the day dia akan distort the information itself lah. Dia akan rosakkan the relationship and so on. Okay, faham Okay, now we look here. The bias manifests itself in a wide variety of a form and context. So specifically, it leads us to rely excessively on vivid but not necessarily appropriate information to fill in the gap in our knowledge with schema consistent but erroneous information. So schema distort our perception of reality to make them consistent with what we already believe. And then the assimilation bias represent the significant obstacle to clear thinking and effective problem solving. And in viewing the world through the schema color glasses, we subject virtually all the incoming information to varying degree of distortion, misinterpretation, and invalidation. So that the reason somehow look into the situation, either you can accommodate or either you assimilate. Okay, contoh kalau lah you pergi satu negara, you travel dekat negara tu, you tahu you akan balik lagi Malaysia dah tempoh seminggu, 2 minggu kan. So somehow you kena accommodate. Dari segi transportation tu okay and so on, you kena accommodate lah dengan situasi tersebut. Tapi katakanlah in situation like you immigrant kat sana, you jarang balik Malaysia, you belajar dekat sana mungkin dalam 6 to 1 year you stay dekat sana. So somehow you ada situasi yang you kena accommodate and ada benda yang you have to assimilate. Okay, you kena assimilate in the situation. Macam contoh tadi yang saya bagi contoh tadi based on the assignment just now tu kan. Somehow you kena tahu apa yang you kena be fit. The schema you kena modify sikit to be fit in your belief. Macam contoh kawan you kata tadi, maksudnya try to suggest to the other coffee house ke kan, which is it can be fit to everybody. Okay, so that is assimilate. You bukan discriminate the pub tu ataupun club tu. Dekat Malaysia janganlah you pergi ke apa kan. I mean dekat negara lain yang maybe it hard for you to get, you know, to get the halal sources ni kan. So that is how you do lah. Okay, maknanya you try to discuss with them. Okay, so that the opinion tu boleh followed with your value and belief tu tadi ya. Okay, so this is the antidote. Don't underestimate the extent to which your prior belief, knowledge, and expectancy, which is can affect your current experience, impression, and perception. Okay, so kat sini dia kata jangan you terlalu underestimate lah based on your belief and so on. So itu tadi somehow you kena accommodate dengan situation tu. Okay, and try to become as aware as possible of the schemata that important to you, and the awareness of schemata increase your ability to modify them. Okay, kalau you have your own belief but somehow you aware, oh somehow my belief ni can be structured sikit lah. So itu is easy to do the accommodate lah. Okay, and experience with temporarily lowering or altering your perceptual filter by attempt to understand someone else subjective perception and experience. So this is the thing yang you somehow you kena faham into the others people punya situation. Okay, dalam situasi tersebut mungkin you akan alter you punya you akan modify you punya belief tu to be fit to the other people punya situation. Okay, so itu yang dia kata accommodate. Learn to differentiate your use of assimilation versus accommodation, particularly when you face with a discrepancy between your belief and the information, and beware of the generated. And finally, prod yourself to accommodate when out of habit, reflect, or just sheer laziness, you will typically be inclined to automatically assimilate. So be careful. Akan ada situasi yang you need to assimilate. Okay, between as a Muslim, you know what is halal, what is haram kan. So I give you the simple example. Pork you tak boleh makan. Janganlah you accommodate pula. Tak apalah Dr. Maina kata boleh accommodate lah. Pang nanti. Siapa yang cakap tu saya ketuk nanti ya. So in that situation you have to tak boleh accommodate langsung lah. Okay, especially for the religious opinion ya. Somehow we need to understand in what situation we need to assimilate, in what situation we have to accommodate. Okay. And okay, now we look on the availability bias, okay, which is this one also apply the critical thinking. Okay, give best estimate for the following question. What are the odds of sustain a fatal accident travel by car as compared with traveling by commercial airlines? Which one? Yang mana ada banyak fatal accident? If we compare car and commercial airline.
Car.
Okay, why car? Okay, someone need to support Dila. Kenapa? Muaz, kenapa car? Okay, tak apa. Kita tanya yang lain pula. Aida Farhana. Okay, my question again. Dila mentioned car, traveling by car, have a sustained a fatal accident compared to commercial airline. Why do you think it's more on car compared to commercial airline?
I think because car is more accessible, so
Mm,
more people are using the car than the airplane. So
Okay,
that's why car has more fatality than airplane.
okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Aida. Muaz, is it same answer with you? Or do you have any other?
Pelik sikit lah.
Apa dia?
Reason is kalau dekat atas sebab reason is first kalau dekat airplane dia ada route dia sendiri, so tak ada satu airplane yang akan lalu route yang sama.
Okay, all right. I agree with that. Okay. After this, we look the answer. Okay, thank you, Muaz. Okay, which racial group comprises the large proportion of US citizens living in poverty? Is it black, white, or Hispanic? Any idea of this? Okay, no idea. Okay, so we move to the third question. Which age group is the highest risk for committing suicide? Teen, middle age, or elderly? Middle age. Okay, I lock the answer, middle age. Did everyone agree? Okay, do you have any other answer? Okay, we ask Sophia, why you said middle age?
Because middle age people stressing out for living crisis, I guess.
Okay. Okay, all right. We look the answer after this, Okay, so which country has the highest suicide rate? Is it Sri Lanka or United States? Okay, so I see majority of you said United States. So we look into the answer. Okay, the answer is yes. Like you mentioned just now, like you all mentioned, people are nearly 100 times more likely to die in automobile accident because satu, ramai orang menggunakan dia. Yang kedua, sometimes the road maybe ada yang tak baik compared to commercial plane accident. Because commercial plane accident we know it's autopilot kan. So we have the pilot to control it. Okay, but it's using the system. Satu lagi because like Muaz mentioned just now, they have their own road. So dia akan susah untuk tak bertembung. Okay, kalau compare dengan mobile accident, so akan ada jalan yang easy for you to get the accidents lah. Okay. And also nearly half of all poor individual in United States So approximately 1/4 are Black and just under 1/4 are Hispanic. And the answer for the next is the elder actually. Silap Sophia is not the middle age, but actually the elder. Okay, over 65 display the highest proportion of self-inflicted death in United States. Okay, so this is based on the what they call the answer lah. Okay, so this is the reason. If you have the knowledge, and you might get the correct answer. Okay, and this is the thing that we call apa yang kita need to use also the critical thinking before we do something. Make some research. Okay, of course the second question too is hard for us to answer because maybe you don't know. Of course, like you're not studying about the US people, right? Let's say I change the question. People in Malaysia, of course, you know the answer. What is the majority and minority and so on? Okay, so this is a thing relate to the knowledge as well. So the knowledge also can be related, can represent based on the critical thinking. If you have knowledge, then you might use a lot of critical thinking over there. Okay, and this is based on our knowledge, based on our understanding. We believe the middle age facing a lot of crises at workplace, financial crisis, and so on. Okay, but unfortunately, in United States, actually, the elder actually showing the highest population of death compared to the middle age. But however, this is a thing back to the knowledge and the past experience. Maybe we read something based on our experience, based on our reading. We say we imagine that is actually middle age. However, based on the statistic, actually the elderly have the highest proportion of death. And somehow we need to look back into the country. Mungkin akan ada country that kalau dekat Jepun kan, kalau dekat Jepun not only elder, middle age also majority in Japan, which is commit suicide. So somehow we need to look into, try to read, get some information, do some research, okay, before we come out to the statement or justification. Okay, so, and actually this process implement the critical thinking. All right, so perhaps the single most important factor underlying the availability bias is our propensity to underuse, discount, or even ignore the relevant best rate information and other abstract statistical fact. So basically, if we use the statistic is more accurate because it's more salient and can concrete compared to our own interpretation. Okay, example saya contoh kalau you buat PSM kan, I believe you nak kena come out dengan problem statement and so on. It's not only based on your view, on your statement or justification. You need to have support with the statistic, the reason behind why you want to conduct the study, the reason why you choose the variable. Is there any issues on the variable? What are the statistics? Okay, so because it's more concrete and salient compared if you use your own justification, somehow your justification can come in because of your past experience, based on your schema and so on, and it can lead to the availability bias. Okay, so that the reason, instead of you use your own opinion based on your past experience and reading, is a good you can support or you use the statistic to support, means that you use the statistic to support your justification or opinion. That one, it will be good lah, because we want to avoid the availability bias. Okay, so as a consequences, personal testimony, graphic case studies, dramatic story, colorful tales, okay, narrative, eye-catching illustration, are liable to slant, skew, and otherwise can distort our judgment. Okay, because somehow it can be not accurate. the personal testimony can be different from you and your friends. Contoh, dua-dua menggunakan produk kecantikan pemutihan lah. Guna Kekoli. Contohlah. And then Muaz pakai Kekoli, kenapa tak berkesan? Tapi kenapa Amirul pakai Kekoli berkesan? Different testimony. Tapi si Aida ni pula dia nak beli produk Kekoli tu kan, dia pun bacalah testimoni. Testimoni tu kebiasaannya personal review yang in a good way lah. So it can lead to the availability bias. Dia tak baca komen daripada Muaz ni. Dia baca komen daripada Amirul sahaja. So that's the reason somehow before you buy the product, make study on the ingredient. Is it effective or not? Okay, macam mana dia punya statistik? Ada tak dia punya data? Sama juga macam ubat pengurusan badan ke, look into the ingredient. Kalau you search for the product, of course lah susah nak dapatkan data. However, kalau you study on the ingredient, you study about the ingredient tu, apa the purpose of the ingredient and so on, so you will get the statistic and data. Which is itu akan lead kepada not having the availability bias lah. Okay, so sama juga bila kita come out dengan justification ke statement ke, try to support with the statistic or based on the data. Okay, so itu akan menyebabkan you punya statement is very strong. Okay, got what I mean because we want to avoid the availability bias. Okay, so the antidotes here when estimating the frequency or probability of an event. Okay, remind yourself, do not reach to a conclusion based on the solely on the ease or the speed with which relevant instance can be retrieved from your memories. Okay, so jangan terus jump to conclusion and come up with the conclusion based on your what you have in your memory. Okay, somehow you need to do some research and study about it, and after that you come up with the conclusion. And also take the evidence not with a grain but with several large shaker of a salt. Bukannya kita menggunakan satu statistik saja, but we use a lot. Contohnya based on the first question just now kan, based on kepada aeroplane and car tadi tu. So you kena ada multiple punya statement lah, multiple statistik, multiple research, okay, to make sure our statement or justification tu strong. Okay, and although personality testimony and vivid cases can be persuasive, but they are not inherently trustworthy indicator of fact. Sebab somehow the testimony is not correct. Your experience and the other people experience might be different. The product may be not applicable for you, but it can be applicable for the other people. Maybe this is a thing that can be different because of the hormone, because of the genetic and so on. So sebab itulah kita based on kepada evidence, not only based on kepada testimony. Okay, and make a conscious effort whenever feasible to seek out and utilize the best rate information and other pertinent statistic data. So to make it more reliable, try use a lot of statistic data. Sama juga in your PSM. Okay, if you relate in your PSM, of course, you nak buat chapter 5 is not only based on your opinion. It must be based on your chapter 4, which is the statistic that you get. Then barulah you boleh buat statement, your justification and so on. Okay, sama juga dalam chapter 1, bila you come up dengan problem statement. You tak boleh based on kepada your point of view. You kena ada statistik, you kena ada evidence. Siapa yang cakap? Daripada jurnal mana, artikel mana, study apa. So it more reliable compare you use your own opinion. And remember that the best basis for drawing valid generalization is from the representative sample of relevant cases. So remember, when you conduct the research, make sure the conclusion that you make is represent to that group. Okay, so somehow kita kena be careful lah. Bukannya kita over generalize. Our data tu, our conclusion tu represent to the other group also. Contohnya, you buat kajian between kindness between Western people and Asian people, and then you do the studies and so on, and then you make the conclusion. Have the kindness, and suddenly you relate with the Middle East kindness. And so it's not, you cannot overgeneralize. Okay, but you can that you have Asian, you can relate with the Western people and Asian country. Okay, tak perlulah you nak relate dengan Middle East people and so on, because it's not in your study. Okay, so also when you conduct the study, support with the statistic and other justification from the other authors with the evidence. So that one would be very good and avoid the availability bias. Okay. And now we move to the next part. Okay, the correlation does not prove the causation. Okay, why we said the correlation does not prove the causation? Yes, last week we already learned about it. Okay, about the correlation. So the correlation is a statement about the relationship or association with the two or more variable. So the correlation is enable us to make prediction. Enable us to make prediction from one variable to other event. Okay, and then if the two events are correlated, so the presence of one event provide us with information about the other event. So however, a correlation does not necessarily establish a causal relationship between the variable. In another word, causation cannot be proven simply by virtue of a correlation or co-appearance. So in this statement, they want to say when you come up with something, sometimes you cannot jump to conclusion that, oh, if things happen like this, maybe because of this. Okay, so maksudnya kat sini ialah kalau you study betul-betul about the correlation, okay, you cannot make the prediction when you use the correlation. Sama juga in real life when you have connection or communication with the other people that different country or different background from us, okay, different country from us. So somehow you tak boleh nak kata, oh patutlah kita sama because of this. So somehow it's not really related. Okay, you need to have the prediction here instead of you using the relationship. So somehow you kena gunakan juga the, kalau kita relate dengan statistic, you use the regression to measure the influence. Okay, so you must understand that correlation cannot cannot prove the causation. Dia tak semestinya ada hubungan akan menyebabkan benda tu berlaku. Contohnya kita kata between Malaysia and Indonesia, we have a similarity, we have correlation between us regarding to the language, regarding to the pemakanan, and so on. But however, we cannot predict that this thing happen because of the, you tak boleh nak predict yang this happen because of what. So it may be we have the other factor. So sebab itulah you tak boleh come out dengan simply justification yang, oh kita samalah, tapi kita sama because of because of your own opinion. So it must be based on the data as well lah. Okay, so be careful with this causation correlation cannot cause the causation. Okay, so for examples here, do you know that there are more aggression in meteorological condition than in cold one? Okay, I'm asking you and I answer. Bagi jawapan dia senang. So for example here, the rate of homicide and rape are generally higher in warmer than in cold climate. So why it happened? It will be because of absurd, of course, to propose that the weather affected the violent crime. So it certainly is much more likely the meteorological conditions somehow affect the violent behavior. However, we do not know if the other factors such as poverty, density of population, or government policy affect the incident of homicide and rape. So somehow we can it must have other factors that lead why the things happen. Okay, so itu yang disebutkan tadi. The correlation tu somehow we cannot predict the causation. It must have the other factors. Okay, so consider also correlation between incident of homelessness and mental illness, pregnancy, teen pregnancy and welfare benefit, poor grade in school and legal trouble, ethnicity and alcohol consumption, the gender role and media mass. So all of these instances, beware of concluding causation based solely on correlation or co-appearance. Because further, when a correlation is observed, be sure to examine all possible pathway and direction of the causation. Okay, instead we have only like one factors that correlate to each other, but be careful, somehow it can have the other factors that can affect why those things is happen. Okay. Alright, so remember that causation is not itself proof of causation. It must have the other factors, okay, that lead to it. And keep in your mind the correlation enable us to make prediction from one event to another. They do not, okay, however, provide explanation as to why the event are related, okay. So instead you have one opinion, one variable, so you must also relate. It must have the other variable that can affect to the things happen. Okay, and support with the justification with the article, statistik. So itu akan menyebabkan you punya statement tu jadi lagi strong. And when a correlation is observed, consider all possible pathway and direction of causation. For example, if event A and event B correlated, does A cause B or does B cause A? And do A and B cause each other? Okay, or does C cause A and B? So this is a question yang kita kena ask. Okay, kita kena ask ourselves. Think about it. Is there any other factors, or is it these two factors integrate affected to each other, or they have the other factors? Okay, so this is the thing that be careful when we do the correlation. Okay, and that's all for today. So basically what we have learned today regarding to the dichotomous, continuous, apa lagi tadi yang kita belajar, assimilation bias, availability bias, Barnum effect and so on. So basically this is a thing related to the critical thinking as well as language. When you come out into the statement, you use your critical thinking to think what are the suitable words or term that can be used to make sure other people understand it without misinterpret it. Okay, so that is how the critical thinking apply in cross-cultural psychology. And somehow you boleh tengok kenapa you boleh tengok the differences between certain country, contohnya African kan. You akan tengok kalau in some situation for us one thing can be as a joke, but why they come out that kind of jokes too into the serious way. It's not a joke at all. So this is a thing yang actually it relate to the critical thinking as well. Okay, so be careful before you come up into the justification and so on. Try to think many things. Try to think about, try to understand the people, the culture itself before you come up with the statement, with your own statement and so on. Okay, sebab kita tak nak nanti akan ada misinterpretation. Contohnya lagi, I have experience masa I pergi travel sebelum ni di Jepun. Of course, we know that people in Japan, some of them they are not really good in English. Okay, but however, both of us we use a different kind of language. Okay, which is I speak in English. And the Japanese speak in Japanese, and then I try to use the critical thinking over there to interpret what actually they want to say. But in the end of the day, we understand it based on the body language that they use, okay, and also based on the direction that they are given. So actually that relate with the critical thinking also. Contoh, if I'm not apply the critical thinking, I might think that, oh, this person might agree with me because I'm asking the question, but actually it's not. But actually it's want to help that this person want to help me and my husband lah to get a good way actually, to get a good direction. Macam tu. So that the thing implement the critical thinking. Okay, so far, do you have any question? Do you understand based on the topic today? Crystal clear? Karina? Understand?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, Iziani, understand?
Yes, Doctor.
How about Zul?
Ada.
Ada. Faham? Faham? Faham Okay, Funky, how about you? Okay, so far, based on this topic?
Yeah, so far okay.
So far, okay. Alright. Christina, how about you?
Ah, yes, Doctor.
How about you?
Okay.
Okay, alright. So I assume majority is okay with today topic. Should be I give you activity, but I think today there is no activity. Okay, so we proceed the activity after Raya, inshallah. Okay, alright. But it was good. It really good kalau you boleh discuss with your friend, try to relate with the country. Mungkin hari ni you tak nampak if because I'm not giving so much examples on the country. But usually in the previous class, in the previous batch, they make the to see the differences between the critical thinking ni. I come up with the activity lah, which is dia kena buat comparison based on the country. But I think for today we postpone it, or you want to do it? What do you think? You want to do it now, or you want to do it after Raya? I give you option. Okay, all right. So, Funky, are you agree if we proceed after Raya, or you want to do it now? Okay, all right. Okay, so we postpone for the activity. We do it after Raya. Okay. So next week, we have class, but on week 5, the class will be postponed. Okay, so you still have time to be together with your family. But we will meet physical class on week 6 with the test lecture and test on week 6. Okay, so by week 5, no class. Next week, we still have class. Same time, 8:30. Okay, so far for online, we start by 8:30. Okay, if physical, after day, we start by 8:15. Okay, clear? Okay. All right. So, if no more question, I think we end our class here. And next week, inshallah, we will proceed with the topic sensation and perception and consciousness. It's also very interesting topic. Okay, so before we end, siapa lagi nak tolong saya to take the picture? Yan.
Doktor, ada
Ya, ya.
soalan boleh tanya tak?
Oh, ada soalan. Ada soalan?
Doktor, nak tanya itu group assignment itu Google Sheet. I tengok I punya nama tapi ada letak psychology disorder. So means I mau pergi group itu atau macam mana?
Okay, you must do only one only. One topic
So,
only.
because I'm under the group of emotion, but I see other group, other people, their name, beside their name is okay, but beside my name and one more girl in the group of psychology disorder is like, we have the exchange topic. So means the girl and I need to exchange how.
Okay, let me see. Let me check. Wait a moment. Okay. while you waiting, I share the attendance first. For those who not cannot scan the QR code just now. Oh, tak boleh lah. Sekejap lah. Sekejap Oh, kat sini Sini satu dengan emotion, right?
Yeah, and then tepi nama Nurul Ashikin binti Muhammad also got emotion.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, now I understand. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, let me check again. Sila Rosani ni, is it Malaysia or Indonesia?
Indonesia, Doctor.
Indonesia. Okay, so acceptable. Okay. Put here. Okay. I thought I want to change. Okay. So no issue. You can maintain with your group. Okay.
Oh, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
All right.
So group 11 tak ada
Group
remark.
Group 11. There is no remark. No remark because even though you have 4 person, but you make it safe on them. You satu-satunya lelaki kat situ. Okay, so okay lah I buat remark. Okay.
Doktor, group 6 pun tak ada remark, Doktor.
Tak apa, sama juga sebab ini do you have Indonesia here?
Yes.
Okay, then it's okay. Alright. So clear, Okay, now I will show the class attendance again. Make sure you not leave the class yet because I need a photo as a proof of coming today. Okay, done? Okay, so I stop sharing. All right, so before we end, let's have a photo session. Yan, please help me, Yan.
Boleh, Doktor?
Okay.
Okay, semua orang ready buka kamera. First page. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next page.
Okay, next page.
Second page. Okay, smile ready. 1, 2, 3. Okay, dah. I'll send in the group.
Alright. Okay, so with that, thank you very much. Amboi laju Muaz keluar. Luar nak pergi mana nak pergi? Oh, okay. Ada kat situ. Okay, sorry lah saya ingat kau nak pergi bazar dah. Muaz lambat lagi nak pergi bazar ni. Petang nanti. Okay lah, so with that, thank you very much. Make sure you take care of yourself. Stay at home during the class. Okay, bye everyone. Assalamualaikum. See you next week. Same time, 8:30 a.m. Bye.
Waalaikumsalam. Bye, Doctor. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye. Okay, bye. Salam.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay, you're welcome.
Doktor,
Ya.
saya nak tanya pasal assignment boleh ke?
Dila ni last week dia dah tanya pasal assignment. Hari ni dia tanya lagi pasal assignment. Kenapa Dila? Apa masalah lagi Dila?
Saya share screen.
Dila, nanti you share juga kepada kawan-kawan yang lain
Okay, boleh Doktor. So, based on movie saya tu, isu yang saya pilih social perception and social cognition. Lepas tu artikel yang saya guna artikel yang ni cuma sebab dalam instruction doktor tak bagi tahu artikel tu kena dari year berapa.
Tak bagi tahu. So it's open.
Oh, maksudnya tak kisahlah.
Tak kisah.
Okay. Lepas tu untuk yang overview tu saya tulis sinopsis macam biasa je lah. Cumanya saya tak sure sama ada yang how it related to the chosen article dengan cross cultural psychology tu saya tak sure saya dah relate ke belum. So nak minta doktor bacakan boleh ke?
Allah, kalau bacakan tu tak boleh lagi dik. Oi. Tapi as long as you can relate with the country, you relate, you support other citation, then it should be okay lah.
Kalau macam yang how it related to cross cultural psychology ni, saya macam cakap lah differences between dua cultures tu.
Betul.
So dah relate dah lah kan doktor?
Yeah. Okay, based on that question, do you think it's really? What do you understand by cross-cultural psychology?
Cross-cultural psychology basically kita tengok between at least two countries.
Yes, exactly.
And then understand the differences, the similarities, lepas tu like find the conclusion from both of them.
Okay, so based on apa jawapan you tadi tu, for this movie, is it represent your statement just now?
Yes, I think yes.
Okay, okay, alright.
So, untuk comparison the role ni, saya tak sure part masculinity dengan uncertainty avoidance. Dalam filem tu both China, dia cerita pasal China and America. So in terms of masculinity versus femininity, both country tu masculinity. Cuma dari segi explanation tu, saya just terangkan pasal China. Saya tak terangkan pasal Amerika sebab saya rasa dalam filem tu dia tak ada mention, explicitly mention. Faham ke doktor?
Okay, so is it can be related to the cross-cultural psychology?
I think no. So
you must add based on itu yang dia relate balik dengan artikel tadi. Kalau artikel you ada cerita pasal Amerika, so you boleh buat comparison lah dekat situ based on the previous study conducted by blah blah blah. So usually the American more emphasize on masculinity, the reasons why, macam tu. You kena relate lah walaupun dia tak relate dengan movie tu, tapi apa dia punya justification yang you kata yang Amerika tu ada apply masculinity.
Oh, faham. Yang ni kalau dia nak relate tu kena based on artikel yang kita dah pilih tadi ke doktor, ke boleh cari artikel lain?
artikel yang kita relate tadi, boleh cari artikel lain, boleh juga cari artikel yang you gunakan tadi. Sebab tu I just state only one sebab I takut some of you feel burdened with it. But if you can find more, then it should be okay.
Faham.
Hmm.
Okay, lepas tu untuk yang summary, yang ketiga ni summary of major points. So untuk yang ni maksudnya doktor nak summarize based on points dalam filem ke ataupun
Dua-dua.
macam mana doktor?
Dua-dua. So that the reason, kalau you buat dalam bentuk point macam ni, how you are going to support with the article? So it's better you come up with the paragraph, you bold the main point, okay, and you support with the article that you choose, the statement tu. Okay?
So the last one, suggestion. Suggestion ni doktor ada nak minimum berapa suggestion ke?
No limit. Which one yang you rasa appropriate? Jangan bagi satu ke dua, tak cukup. Bagi dua dan lebih. Tapi saya tak nyatakanlah lebih tu berapa. Kalau you rasa you nak letak 3 ke 4 ke, is still acceptable.
Faham.
Okay. Yang point yang tadi tu buat dalam bentuk essay
Yang tu ini saya copy paste daripada artikel tu je sebab saya malas nak buka balik.
Okay.
Tu je nak tanya.
Itu saja. Alright. Okay, thank you very much. Ya.
Doktor nak tanya. Tadi kan Dila cakap dalam movie dia pun tak ada explicitly show pasal Amerika kan. Lepas tu saya punya movie dia tentang orang kulit hitam dengan orang kulit putih. So dalam movie tu dia lagi banyak cerita tentang orang kulit hitam, cuma yang orang putih tu dia just dia tunjuk macam dia jadi boss. Dia macam dia pergi kat tempat kawasan kampung tu, lepas tu dia cakap okey tebang pokok ni, tebang itu ini. Tapi tu je lah. Boleh ke doktor ambil yang tu?
Okay, so how it represent in cross-cultural psychology tu? So itu yang you need to use the critical thinking yang kita belajar tadi tu supaya is it represent based on the elaboration yang you sebutkan tadi.
Okay. So as long as ada artikel yang boleh support tentang apa yang ditunjukkan tu, saya boleh ambil movie tu.
Betul. And to add, maybe you based on your explanation tu kan, you punya write up tu, maybe you boleh support juga dengan foto daripada movie tu. Ada statement yang you boleh buat comparison. Contohnya masculine tadi tu between China and America tu kan. Apa statement yang menunjukkan dia tu lebih masculine? Apa statement among China? Apa statement yang menunjukkan dia lebih masculine among American? So it will be good lah.
Okay, thank you doktor.
Okay, welcome. Nanti sampaikan juga kepada classmate yang lain.
Okay, thank you doktor.
Okay, welcome. Assalamualaikum.